Slow mode. Yeah. Funny green creature looking kind of fresh though. Thank you, Jared. Oops, I forgot to tell. Lux? Nah, we be Peacocks. Oh, Peace Lux. Okay. I thought you were saying Peacock funny. Silly me. Stream mods. Sorry. Alright, Prof, you're here, so you're keeping everything safe. Keeping everything nice and safe. Where is confinement? Well, you're just gonna have to be patient. I'm sick right now, so it's been quite slow. But I'm still making it. You can count on that. Cool, looking bright today. I think you're recovering quite well. I wish. I just have a filter on, and it makes me look a lot cuter than I am right now. What is wrong? Do you have COVID? COVID. I don't know why I said it like that. No, I don't. I went and got a test. Yeah. But I don't have it. Came back negative. Made a funny tweet about it and everything. Hey Soviet Union, welcome back. Don't do anything silly. None of that NKVD shit. Can I get an Ayo? Ayo, Olav Skreslet. Stream is pretty quiet. Is it? The music might be. I'll turn it up a bit. It's too loud. There's nothing to fear. Prank Patrol is here. Hell yeah. Welcome to the stream, Lish. Ugh. Why is Ralph crying? I don't know. Ralph, come to me. Come over to my lap and sit on it and tell me your story. Hey Bong, we're having a lovely time in your Discord server. Just here to say love you. Oh, love you too, Indy. Yeah, if you guys are still there, I'll probably pop in. Off the stream, I mean. What a coincidence, I'm sick too. Oh yeah. Hey Spectrometon, welcome back. You should have said coming real soon on the confinement teasers, making people more impatient and not knowing it was coming. I don't think I said real soon. I said that's a big soon, which when I was saying it, when I was writing it out at the time, the way I said it in my head, I thought it was clear that a big soon meant a big wait, a long wait. But I guess some people read it as the big soon, which I guess is a cute internet way of saying very soon. Look at this big soon. I wasn't thinking about that when I wrote it, so a lot of people misinterpreted it, I think. This is nice. Thank you, Infinity35. Would you ever said anything to do with Wondertainment and confinement? Maybe. I mean, Dr. Fish is all. I'm pretty sure Dr. Fish is a Wondertainment guy, little Wondertainment boy. Why those gifts, Lordbone? These are just gifts that I have on my laptop. They're all gifts except for this one. That is a photo of my boyfriend. And I like having it here. Hi Lordbone, I love your vids. Thank you. It's very kind. Are you cured from your sickness? No, the title says still sick. But vibing? Question mark? I think the mystery is on whether or not I'm vibing. The sickness is for sure. Oh, I'm sorry, Malizani. I'm sorry to hear that. Unless you're just joking, then don't joke about that. It's fucked up. I'll be listening to the stream while I draw. Yes, the intended purpose. You're looking very aesthetic today, my brother. Pretty broccoli in there, pal. The rat forever rar. Oh, okay. I thought somebody was screaming behind me. Just got back listening to song. What happened? I love listening to song, Chef Boyardee. Nothing much has happened so far. We're just doing a little stream. You still making Connor? Yeah, I'm making Connor. I actually redesigned him for this episode, so it's more true than you could ever know. I have a for, but I don't care, or in caveman English, me have cold, me no care. Oh my god. That sentence really awoken something in my head. I'm not really happy about it. You have a very soothing voice, thank you. It's a lot more somber now that I'm sick. I'm just gonna have to put up with the coughing if I ever raise my voice later on in the stream. Bloodbong Live is a serial now? Never been on a live stream of yours. Thanks for your illustrative creativity on this planet. Thank you. I don't know what the serial thing means, but thank you. Just ask the plague doctor for help if you're sick. Don't worry. He'll give me the good waiting room lollipops that I need, I think. What's the vibe? Is it staying up late when you should be resting? It's always that. Sometimes people cannot sleep, and so they would tune into a stream like this. Sometimes people are willfully giving their free time in their day to watch this stream. Either way, I'm flattered and I'm excited to be a part of that experience. Reaching out to 100-ish, probably 100-ish people at most, and give them a bit of a vibe for today. You know, I kind of feel like a giant octopus, just with 100-ish legs. Hey Bung, how you doing today? It's pretty good. I woke up this morning feeling okay. But there's this shitty feeling that occurs with sickness, you know? You just don't feel like yourself. And it sucks, but because I've been sick for about a week now, it's getting a little easier to accept that this is just where I'm at right now, you know? I don't have to be rushing to get anywhere. I'm doing what I'm doing to get healthy, you know? I'm following my doctor's instructions. I'm resting, I'm not trying to do anything too exerting. So really, I'm doing everything I need to do. It's a 90s commercial, we'll look it up. Okay. You wanna hear a funny joke or a dark but funny joke? Let's just stick with the funny joke. I don't know you well enough to know if your dark jokes are the kind that I like on the stream. When are we getting Confinement episode 7? We got that a while ago. I think you mean 8. But if you haven't seen 7, then boy howdy, you should go check that one out, because I worked real hard on that one. You look like off-brand Jacksepticeye is beautiful. Thank you, I appreciate that. He doesn't even have green hair anymore, but people still call me Jacksepticeye. Sleep? I barely even know her. Rat smoking cigarette. Do you still like oatmeal? I don't think I've ever liked oatmeal. Sorry, oatmeal. Username oatmeal. Profile picture, a bowl of oatmeal. Why do you sound like a Bond villain? Speak American, Connor. Alright. Welcome to Confinement ASMR, guys. I'll do a Connor ASMR now, I think. No, I've already done that on stream. I don't repeat that joke. Hi, I will be answering these questions as Connor from Confinement. This here is, I'm gonna have to think of a scenario. Alright guys, it looks like I'm trapped in a spaceship that's been launched into the abyss. I'm hurtling towards the sun goddess. I got approximately an hour and a half before I incinerate in that there sun. So please send me some funny jokes and good, sincere questions about life. Bung, please help. I have Irish career studies and maths classes. Each of them are an hour long, and they're back to back. About to have a stroke, not gonna lie. I've been there, and there have been people who have been there too. You can reach out to those people. It's okay. Maybe that's what you're doing right now. Maybe you're reaching out to me. If you feel stressed out and want to let it out here, no problemo. Just don't be a dick. But you're not going to be. You're cool. When we're getting confinement episode 5 though. And how the fuck did I get like here? From spammer to mod and friend. Yeah, look at that. Isn't it crazy? Because I think friendships don't follow a system. You know, these systems are an excuse for us to make friends with each other. At least that's the way I view a lot of it. You know, you're thrown into school and you end up making friends from school. That's the shit that you remember the most, you know. And I think if a friendship is good, then there are not a lot of barriers that would be in between them. Houston, we have a problem. Lord Bung has bad feelings. Someone mentioned a joke, so we'll give ours. Knock knock, who's there? Old lady who? Old lady who? I didn't know you could yodel. Old lady who? Alright, it's not bad. It's not bad. I want die. I'm sorry, cream was taken. You deserve better than that. I'm making a funny Family Guy edit where Lewis Griffin, like, literally dies. Ha 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 ha. So fun. And, peace emoji. Box of noodles emoji. 2 people waving emoji. Someone waving on a phone emoji. For the sincere question, are you wearing nail polish? Let me see. It's still the green nail polish that I put on like a week ago. I need to change it. Maybe I don't. Maybe I fucking don't. Thoughts on bananas? Pretty good. I genuinely don't know any other source of potassium. I'm sure there is another source of potassium out there. As far as I can tell, bananas are the only one. And apparently that's important. I don't know, potassium, is it? Is there a dietitian here? Paraflex tape, I will split this ad in half. You go do that. So does being a rideshare driver an excuse to stay ghosted from all the people you meet? Ghosted? I mean, yeah, sure, if you want to just stay detached from everybody. I don't know if that's the best way to live life, but you know, I'm not you, so if that's what you want to do, man. It's not up to me. It's kind of gonna be OP. I'm not gonna write him as a Mary Sue OP or whatever, but he already is kind of weirdly powerful in that he can completely avoid the thing that humans have been spending the entirety of civilization trying to escape and distract themselves from. How's your spine? Thank you. I do need a reminder to sit up right. It's the first time I've joined and it's super chill. I love it. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy it. That's in the pastel grain nail polish. I think it would suit so good. Oh, yeah. I think I'll do that next time I'm in a pharmacy. I'll check it out. Will the Triceratops ever return in any capacity? I love his design. Maybe in some capacity. Bananas are like the Tide best fruit. Tide with what? Hey, what's up, man? When do you think the episode will air? Keep up the wonderful content. It's what gets me out of bed every day. I wake up praying that you publish something new. Oh, man. My God, I'm so sorry for that. Oh. I hope you have other content that you like watching, because holy fuck. That just put a whole lot of pressure on me. I'm joking mostly, but it's still coming. I don't know when it's gonna come. but it's coming. I'm not very good at being able to predict how long it takes for these things to happen because I just do them. I do them because I like doing it, because it's fun, not because I'm trying to get to the end of it. Because I find that when I'm trying to get to the end of it while I'm working on it, that's when I'm stressing out the most and when I end up doing it the least. So my method really is just work on it, 3-4 hours a day. Boy kisser. Yeah, maybe I'm a boy kisser. What are you thinking? Hey, do you like video games? If so, what's some of your faves and what are you playing now? Right now, I'm not really playing any video games. I think I did a little bit of Minecraft the other day. That's about it. The other best fruit is you, X. Thanks, babe. Favorite video game? No, I'm not really a gamer. I like watching other people play, especially if it's like one of those open world, aesthetically beautiful games. But that's about it. That or the Lego games, but they're for children. They're very simple. Tried to walk my dog for an hour. Guess who had to carry her the entire time? Aww. Sounds wonderful. Every time you'll ask for episode 8, a day gets added to the production. Oh. No. I'll never get it done. I'll literally never get it done if that was the case. Can I just say, I fucking love my boyfriend. This guy. Sorry, the camera's reversed for me, so I don't remember which hand it is, but oh my god, I love him. I was in a call with him earlier today, and he gets so blushy when I talk about how much I love him, Sometimes he's like, fuck you, gay ass. And sometimes he's like, and I'm like, and it's, I don't know. I don't know, I was just thinking about that. Hey Bung, does the universe punish us for our bad actions? I've had a string of bad luck like the other day. A thorn went through my walking boots. Is the universe punishing me for doing something wrong? No. The universe is not a conscious, judgmental thing. The universe is the totality of everything. And so there is no judge, jury, and executioner that's determining what happens within the universe, because the universe is everything. So if there is a conscious decision maker that is saying that you are punished now because of this thing that you did, then that would have to exist outside the universe. And there's no proof of that. There's nothing outside of the universe. The universe is the totality of every single molecule, atom, motion of energy that you can possibly measure and perceive and feel. So what's actually happening is that your mind, which is a rationalizer, a machine that looks at the chaos that is reality and tries to make equations out of it to calm yourself down, is trying to personalize some kind of order, because the chaos that you experience, the thorn going through your boot and fucking up your foot, was so terrible that your mind is going, there has to be a reason for this. There has to be. There has to be a way that I can get out of this. There has to be a system in play here. And reality is that there isn't. What you got to accept is that the universe is just doing what it is. It is what it is. You are part of the universe. You're inseparable from it. That means bad things happen and good things happen. You can... It sounds scary, but once you begin to accept it, then it takes a whole lot of stress off you, because you don't have to think about the future so much anymore, because you don't really know what's going to happen. And so you can plan things and you can have ideas for how you want to live your life, but you're not going to be so attached to it anymore, because you know that it can, just disappear. And that's okay. And it's going to hurt and it's going to suck, but that's okay. How do you two meet, if you don't mind me asking? Oh man, feels like lifetimes ago. When I was a completely different person on Twitter. And admittedly, we weren't in the best environments, but we clung onto each other. And we really liked talking to each other. Bung, you're being too adorable. You're going to create a cuteness singularity and kill us all. I love my boyfriend. What can I say? But what was I saying? Yeah, the universe is chaos, but we've been raised culturally to believe that chaos is bad because we're a culture of order. We like controlling things. We like controlling nature. We like controlling women. We like controlling minorities. We like controlling each other. We like controlling poor people. We like separating people into rich people and poor people. We like separating people into authority and criminal. We like controlling. We like categorizing. We like separating. And so the idea of chaos to us, culturally, we hear it and we're like, oh, that's the bad thing. You know, that's the Joker. That's a volcano eruption. You know, but it's not. It's just nature. It just is what it is. We're the ones labeling it and saying this is good and this is bad, and if it ever reaches one or the other, then we should either celebrate or we should cry. And because we feel like we have to, then we do it. And we end up creating this strange feedback loop in our head of we should be afraid of this, or we should be happy about this. It ends up creating all sorts of political cultures, you know, people who are against the system, people who are for the system, all the weird ones in between, all the different alternative ways of living your lifestyle. But I think it's important to realize that we're all part of that system too. We're not looking at it from an outside perspective like the objective, rational people that we think we are. We're also trapped in that system. We also have all these prejudices. I have these prejudices. Everyone does. Unless maybe you're someone who's so completely detached from society and live under a bridge or something, but you probably won't be watching the stream. Say eggs. Eggs. You are wholesome, Lord Bung. Thank you for existing and making live streams almost every day to entertain us while you're working on one of the best YouTube shows ever. That's really sweet of you to say. Thank you, Golden Links. The universe is basically an animal. It grazes on the... Oh, you're quoting Rick and Morty, huh? Grazes on the ordinary. It creates infinite idiots just to eat them. Yeah, well, that's a reflection of, not to get into the Rick and Morty critical analysis class, but that's a reflection of his personality. He's a cynical person. He drinks all the time, he takes drugs, he's trying to avoid the feeling that he gets when he's alone. And so he has to view the universe as this enormous, tremendous, cynical, Lovecraftian deity that's just eating everything, and to justify the fact that he is smart and he can get away from it better than everyone else. Because that's the only other way he could feel that he is valid. You know? That's the only person that he is. He used science to get out of his problems, to avoid his problems. His entire character is, I'm avoiding my problems, and I'm going to use my insane intelligence to do that. And I can keep doing that, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. And yeah, obviously it causes a lot of problems if you've seen the show. Him and the titular character Morty go on wonderful adventures all across the universe. Hey chat, I'm feeling nice. That's good. I'd love to hear it. Why couldn't the toilet paper cross the road? Because it got stuck in a crack. Thank you, Soviet Union, for that. Don Orion, the oblivious lovers, fanfic writers wish they could write as a great fluffic clueless gaze as you two. Yeah. Smart people get a chance to climb on top, take rally for... Oh, he's still quoting Rick and Morty, huh? Hey, did you watch Land Before Time? Yes, I did. That's a very good movie, I think. What's your opinion on curly fries? They're very cute. I like them. I like being adventurous with my fries. Oh god, that is like the tamest shit I've said in my life. I've said some pretty tame milquetoast shit in the past. Why did the chicken cross the road? To get to his gay friend's house. Knock knock, who's there? The chicken. Fucking got me. You got me. Funky monkey spaceship. Hey, Bong, do you know about the Sugar Crash song? Yes, I know this is random, sorry. Sugar Crash song? No, I don't know that one, sorry. I joined like 2 minutes ago and all this reality talk was liquefying my brain. Good! If any of you have any more questions about existentialism, I really love talking about it. Or just philosophy in general. Or life. Those three things are very, very intertwined. In fact, I mean, it's all really... Existentialism, I can easily find intertwined in everything now. Like, a lot of people like to define spirituality as, like, they have this image in their head, like, oh, some 40-year-old white woman with dreadlocks doing chakras and yoga and crystals and stuff, and it's like, sure, that can be a part of it, but spirituality doesn't have an aesthetic, really. There is maybe the corporate aesthetic of it, which is like alternative medicine, whatever, but there's... I think it completely neglects the thousands of different kinds of indigenous spirituality that has been practiced on this earth for thousands of years, long before we started whitewashing it and making it this kind of corporate pipeline type thing. Not saying that if you're white and you're practicing spirituality that you're part of the problem. You could be very sincere about it, I'm sure you are. But I get annoyed of the image that people have. I used to be very judgmental about the word spirituality and just everybody who I associated with that place. But spirituality is literally in every single thing that you do. Everything that you do, you create meaning, you put it out into the universe, and then you act upon it. That's magic. That's a spell. You are creating an intention, and then you're bringing it into a physical reality from this private place in which only you can hear the voices in your head telling you what to do. You know, we can make it sound as scientific as you want, but I could put it this way, and it sounds fucking hilarious, that we are basically these vessels that are responding to tiny voices in our head and doing literally everything that has ever been done by a human being. Just imagine that for a second. Everything that's ever been done by a human being all started because of some crazy little energy bolts inside of your brain. You know? I am the rooster in the morning, the cock of the day, I'm the boxer in the briefs, I'm the 12-ounce steak. Is that right? Is that right? Pretty sure the universe is just a small membrane in a cell that's in a larger creature who may either be contemplating their existence or just doing their homework and sweating the small stuff. It can be literally both. Yo, Bong, you want to hear a not bad dark joke? I mean, if my mods don't agree, you could say it. Nothing's stopping you from saying it. Maybe I'd like it. Maybe not, though. I think that confinement is equal to Generator Rex, Rick and Morty, SCP, plus a genius writer. Thank you. I haven't seen Generator Rex in a long time. Ugh. I thought I'd take a break from writing to tune in, but this is so chilling that I'm writing and listening at the same time. Hell yeah. I'm glad. Rocket Pepsi's carbonated existentialism now in green hair flavor. Monster energy drink. Is it dark or just bigoted? Good question. Soviet Union. Why can't orphans play baseball? Because they can't find home. Alright, well, it's kind of fucked up, actually. There was a very small chuckle in the midst of my diaphragm. But that's the kind of joke I'd hear in high school when people try to be edgy, you know? Like, what's the difference between a Ferrari and a pile of dead You know that joke. Ignore this. Punis Guginga. Whoa. Hey, do you have any tips for digital art? Love from Russia. Hey, привет. Thank you for the 200 rubles. Do you have any tips for digital art? my tablet just as a gift for my friend who wasn't using it anymore. I just kind of went from there. I don't know. Is there something about digital art that you're trying to achieve, or do you just want to do art? You know? Just go into it with not a whole lot of assumptions and expectations and see what ends up happening. Does existentialism imply expressivism? If all value is personal, then moral statements have no meaning without referring to who or what the statement is from. Well, I mean, you can still say killing is bad without quoting somebody. It's just that nobody is obliged to agree with you, is the thing. Most people would agree with you, so, you know, that's a bad example, I guess. But, you are just going to have to trust that people will disagree with you even on things that you've once felt were universally true. I don't know. However, the way that we all live our lives, where we're all telling each other what to do and living in this kind of structured system, the fact that it arose naturally means that this is just the way things are, and maybe the way things have to be. I don't know. Maybe we can change that, and we will change that. I mean, it's always going to change anyway, so it's actually not something you really need to worry about. And that includes pretending that it isn't going to change and getting so fired up and angry and violent and doing something about it. That's all part of the process. I don't know. Notice me, senpai. Thank you, Tell 'em Meow, for the $2. I appreciate that. Every time y'all ask, it gets pushed back, I promise. Lish is gonna promise this. I'm gonna be uploading it, and then they're gonna fucking break open my window and kick the shit out of me until I go, okay, fine. I'll wait a couple more days. Yo, just changed my name. Congratulations, Pancake Boy. Nostalgia hits me every time I think about Generator X of Futurama or Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls. Oh, man. Can you explain the spiritualism of me pooping my gym shorts in front of the whole 4th grade class? Well, tell me how you felt. Tell me what that did to you. Sounds kind of traumatic. You don't have to tell me if it's too traumatic, though. Whoa! Thank you for the $25 telling me out. Notice me more. Definitely am. It's a warmer color, and there's a demon in your message, so it's definitely hitting, it's imprinting something into my brain. Pancake Boy, love the hair. Thank you, Rowan. I had a thought about the nature of humans and whether we are born good or bad. I think we are born to do good for our individual selves, but our culture/upbringing determine what that good means. I think that's pretty close to the truth. Ramdas, Krishnamurti, and the entire tenets of Buddhism and parts of Hinduism state that we are born good, and that actually, when we're babies, that's pretty damn close to, you know, I guess you could say a pure soul. And yet when we grow older, there's a condemnation of so many aspects of our purity. So like, we freely express ourselves, we react to our emotions, and we be authentic and honest with each other. That gets sort of taught out of you as you grow up, because you have to try and fit in with the society that the parents happen to be in. So I think there's a lot of truth to that, and I think the way that people learn this is very important, because it's not like these rules of like etiquette and politeness and how you behave in a society. I don't think they're bad. It's just that some people don't know how to teach them, and so we end up with loads of people who have very, very controlling, fearful mentalities about how the world should be run and how other people should live and how society should be. And, you know, if you're particularly controlling, then you become, you know what you become. And then, of course, there's a massive spectrum in between. People who are just so chill and so private and don't tell anyone what to do, even if it's arguably justifiable. The other upstanding scale, just people who are so absolutely, it has to be in my control. And then it's not even that simple. There's a huge complicated swath of different ways that people are controlling versus when they're chill. You know, like I'm chill for quite a lot of things. That's something that I've had a sort of advantage of it because I've always been quite passive, but it's something that I've also learned and had to confront and have developed for quite a while now, is being able to tolerate all sorts of things. Because it's not about, but there are things that I'm intolerant about, like, and politically I have strong opinions, and sometimes it pulls me out of my sort of, all-loving kind of journey, and suddenly people aren't people anymore, they're vessels for ideas, and I have to remember that. Okay, you know, you can hate the idea, you can hate the fact that this idea is manifesting through this person and through the power that they have, and you just want to punch them, but like, what part of this is an accurate way of looking at the world, and what part of this is just a fantasy that I've created where I want to punch somebody who represents things that I still have strong feelings against. You know what I mean? And I'm not necessarily anti-violence, but I think it's very important to know when to be violent and when not to be violent, and I think no one can tell you what that means. I think that's a very personal thing. You have to know when to be violent if you think you need to, you know? That's called, what's it called? Particularism? Where, like, your morals, there are no universally good or bad decisions. We were just watching this on The Good Place a few hours ago. But the way they explained it was quite good. There are no objectively good or bad actions in the universe. It's all completely relative to the person, with the situation they're in, you know, their life, their conditioning, their upbringing, their challenges and struggles, and every single other aspect that goes into that scenario. You don't need confinement, you want confinement. What you do need, however, is patience. Animation takes time, guys. It's true. Thank you, Lish. Thank you for standing up for me in this particular scenario. Ooh, the Pepsi ship is bigger. It got a little longer because I wanted to have multiple people on call. Have my boyfriend on call. I'm glad that even when my boyfriend isn't here, I still have people messaging me and saying in chat that, like, we really like it when your boyfriend's here. I'm so glad. I really like that he's a part of my life. Bung's very relaxing. Thank you, Paper Plane. Aside from the coughing, I'm gonna be doing that. Hey chat and Bung, what is your view about cats? I have 2 of them now, Alfred and Pepsi. 2 good boys. Pepsi's very shy though, because he's new. Complicated sloth, yeah, that's me. I felt bad for blaming the poo on the other kid, especially because people stepped in it, and he was forced to clean it. But apparently he had done it before and actually thought he did this time as well. Oh man. Whoa, that was actually a lot heavier than I thought this poop story was gonna be. You actually gaslit this guy's poop? Whoa. I'm not condemning you, by the way. This is just heavy. Holy shit. You shit his pants. Oh my god. Wow, like, okay, so, and you still feel bad about that. Man, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Have you processed it? Have you processed this idea? If so, I mean, you feel free talking about that much, so if you want to talk about it more, you know, I'm here to listen. I'm a broke guy and I spent my net worth on this. Tell him, yo, you didn't have to do it. Thanks for the $2, but you didn't have to. But I guess you did, so, I mean, thank you so much. I'm going to acknowledge that. I'm going to respect that. Your net worth is $26. $26 US. Oh my god. Good Place is an awesome philosophy lesson wrapped in humor. It really is. It's really charming. I love the character writing. Chemistry is beautiful and natural. The whole concept is very fresh, really exciting, very existential, metaphysical. Is it considered rude to wake up my family with a kazoo at 6 in the morning? Yeah. Trying to think of a way when that would... I don't know, unless there's a fire and the fire alarm isn't going off, then, again, it's relative. You guys are incredibly talented, it's insane. Thank you. If you dig a 6 feet hole, how deep is that hole? How deep is that hole if you dig a 6 foot hole? This has got to be a trick question, because I'm just going to say 6 feet deep, right? How deep is that hole? My first job as a freelance 3D modeler, and I'm making Big Chungus. I didn't sign up for this. Holy shit, dude! Big Chungus time! Show me when you're done, man. Show me when you're making it. Show me every single aspect. There are various degrees of consistency in differing ethical frameworks and personal principles. I think it is a mistake to see logical consistency as moral correctness. It is a mistake to see logical consistency as moral correctness. Yeah, I agree. Because the universe doesn't work on a system, on a completely logical system, especially when we're talking about morality. So morality, what you're trying to do, if your morality involves other people, which that's all it is, involves other people, and people are all radically different, then there is not going to be a system that works universally for everybody. I recall Bong mentioned making a Transformers series ages ago on Twitter. I'm curious if that's still in the cards. I still kind of want to do it, but that's going to be in a while, because I want to do Confinement Season 2 more than that now. I was leaning towards the Transformers idea because I was sort of falling out of the idea of doing a Season 2 of Confinement. At least not immediately. But now I'm insanely motivated to do Season 2 of Confinement. So, yeah, the Transformers thing is going to be on the table for a bit longer. I love that your nails match your hair. Thank you. Yeah, I like putting effort into these things. Not right now, though. I'm sick. But not sick me had a great idea with this. Even the green t-shirt. Look at that. I mean, these are 3 different completely shades of green, but fuck it. Fuck it, man. Done drawing. Just gonna chill. Hey, Raymond Rambobulus. Chilling is mandatory, yeah. Hey, Bong, so if your actions don't have consequences, then what is keeping us from just doing whatever we want? Oh no, your actions have consequences. It's just that you don't have to view your actions as good and bad. You just have to acknowledge that there are consequences. And there are always consequences for everything you do, even completely neutral things. And so all you have to do, and this is how you get people out there who we would call bad people, who get what they want, is because they're aware of the consequences. And then there are good people out there who nobody ever hears about, because they're good people and they're not trying to get attention about it. Better people than me. Who are living completely fulfilled and full lives. The consequences of everything, and this is one of the 4 proclamations of the Buddha, is that everything has a cause and effect. Every action creates an equal and opposite reaction. Isaac Newton. It's the same as physics. For example, let's say you decide that you are going to smile more. Now, on the one hand, that can increase the amount of times that you smile throughout the day, and therefore just make you happy. Make you generally a little bit more happy day by day, week by week, month by month. Now, the downside to this is that if something in you is making you feel sad for whatever reason, you're going to feel like a failure because you've decided that your goal was to become happy. And that is one of the consequences of trying to be happy, is that you're going to have to deal with the fact that it's not always going to happen, and that it is a lot harder than, especially when you proclaim that you're going to be happy. It's like telling your brain to give you all of these challenges to make you unhappy. Everything has consequences, and that doesn't mean don't try and be happy. Don't ever confuse those two. Do literally whatever you want, but acknowledge that there are going to be consequences. There always will be. Even in a world without law or authority, there's always going to be consequences, and people, and a lot of indigenous people know this. We used to know this before we became, quote, advanced. And now we play by the rules that we created in our own little worlds. Whereas there are people who live in total harmony with nature, people who used to live in total harmony with nature as well. And they feel like they're in place with the universe. But we've created a system, this society. This is society time. Look, it's Joker time with the green hat. The society that we create isn't designed to make us all feel like we fit, or that we're accepted. It's designed to create the most amount of product, the most amount of money, the most amount of profit. Even if that means people get left behind and made irrelevant and even targeted and abused. And so, suicide is a unique thing to society. This amount of suicide, this amount of stress, this amount of diagnosed people with all forms of stress and depression and suicide ideation, and of course suicide. Particularly productive countries have very high suicide rates. And I'm not blaming anybody in particular. There isn't like a man twiddling his mustache at the back curtain of all this who's like, I'm the god of capitalism, I'm controlling all this. No, it's a thing we all did mutually. It arose naturally, and therefore I'm not going to demonize it. But these are the consequences of going into a society where our number one priority is production and efficiency and categorization and control, is that when things fall out of those labels, they become seen as a threat and an enemy. And so you have people, like me, if I was around in the 50s, the fact that I'm a mixed race, half white, half brown person would have been seen as a threat, because I'm proof that the system that was established at the time isn't real. It isn't the only way that people can live. That's a threat to people. Gay people is a threat to a lot of people. All forms of people who fit outside of the categories that we try to live and control other people with. The consequences of that is that you're going to freak out every time you see an anomaly. Man, this poo arc is really something. Oh shit, I need to scroll up and look for the poo arc. Cuda critters, where's your poo story? I'm a bad person. I blamed the poo on a kid. Oh, I forgot his parents had died a couple months earlier. I should be in SCP custody. I'm wanted. Holy shit, dude. Oh my god. Man. Maybe you didn't know that. Maybe you weren't thinking of that when you blamed him on the poop. But, it happened. If it did happen. It happened. You're allowed to feel however you want about it, but if it's already done and dusted, then there's not much else you can do, Well, I'm too sleepy to stick around. Good night, get well soon. Thank you, Spectromaton. Thank you for the bouquets. I never talk about how I feel. Maybe you should, even if it's just to yourself, Joker mode. Orion, please help. He is asleep. And when Orion is asleep, I am Joker mode. a lot more people kill themselves when they're wealthy enough to stop working for 5 minutes too. Yeah, because they got to the top and they realized that, oh, there's nothing here, I still feel the same. I was just excited from the climb because I was expecting something more. Now that I'm here, it's like, oh, okay. You know? Because we've been taught to believe that being productive and useful is the only meaning to life. Working hard, stiff upper lip, controlling the raging chaos of uncertainty and your emotions and all of these things that you can't categorize and talk about in this rational way are the enemy. And once you get to the top, it's like, oh, this was a mistake. So that's not to say that you should give up all of your riches or your money or your possessions or whatever, but acknowledge that maybe there's a bit more to life. What you own, you know? It's not about control or possession. And being sick has been helping me with that. Fuck. I don't understand how people get diagnosed with depression. How do you get the motivation to get out of bed to get help when I'd rather just lay here and die? Well, because there isn't one person inside of you. We call this a person, but really there are a bunch of conflicting things quite often. There are a bunch of conflicting impulses, and so a part of you might want to go get help, and a part of you might want to not. And how can you tell if you're depressed if there isn't a part of you that has hope, you know? Because otherwise, what are you depressed about? If you are completely and totally within that space of life doesn't matter, then you wouldn't be feeling depressed because you've given up on hope. But because you have hope, you know, do you want to feed the hope or do you want to feed the depression? That's up to you. The less I think about how I feel, the better. Well, that's a very short-term thing. Avoidance is really great on the short term, but it's really rough in the long term. No worries, Mr. Quartz. Have a good sleep. I'm so depressed. I generally don't care anymore. I've lost so many people in my life, but I forced my depression down so I can help the people I care about. I'm sorry to hear that, man. You don't have to do it that way, but if that is the way things are right now and you really feel like there's no other way, then, you know, I just hope you find a way out of that. Well, government building, the society and capital would go away. I wish it was that easy. Ooga booga, I love that camera. Thank you. Man up is very bad. It's not a great term, just because it doesn't actually help. Because if you think somebody actually needs to man up, whatever that means, the person who needs to man up is not going to have the same definition of man as you, most likely. Cough, cough, maybe you should stop smoking. I'm sick. I don't smoke. Technically, the top financially, 20 million net assets. It is a little boring sometimes, but I can, like, Thanos in my garden or find problems to throw money at. Wow, hey, that's interesting. What a diverse group of people we have here tonight. I'm gonna go eat a microwave. You go do that. Thank you, Andershot. It's important to be productive and do things, but there is something to be said about investing more in others than you do in yourself. Investing too much in yourself can be almost selfish. I don't think it's necessarily that simple. Like, I think the key to it is realizing where you're obsessed with things and learning to let go of that obsession. If you're looking for peace in your mind, you know, it doesn't really have much to do with whether you're a good person or not. It has more to do with, are you obsessed with being a good person or not? Are you obsessed with trying to get money or not? Are you obsessed with any kind of goal that on one hand can be seen as pure and good and noble, but once it becomes an obsession, it hurts, and it becomes a thing that you end up hurting yourself over and other people over. Because we established earlier, there's no objective good or bad in the universe. It has more to do with your obsession and anxieties about things. I don't know, that's my point of view at least. I thought there'd be more people. Well, how many people are here? Let's see. Yeah, sounds about right. That's no biggie. I'm reversed from most depression. I'm depressed because I'm suicidal, not suicidal because I'm depressed. Not being allowed to end it makes me depressed, lol. Man, it's really rough to hear. I'm sorry, you must be going through a lot. I really hope you find some way to address what you're feeling, how you're feeling. Maybe it's therapeutic for you to write that down, you know, and send it in chat. How many months from episode 8? I also walk with the translator. I speak Spanish, also Latin America, where I for episode 8. I can't tell you, I don't know. I'm just gonna have to wait. Can't with friends, acceptance of myself, I'm enough to be me. I'm still trying, but it's better. It's beautiful, John Taylor. Yeah, I mean, if you want to find a way out, you will find a way out, eventually. If that's what you want to do. If what you want is a very specific way of getting out of your problems, you're less likely to achieve that. Because you've intentionally made it harder for yourself by saying that I can only be happy once this happens. But if you want to be better, if you just want to be better in this pure level of whatever it takes, whatever this means, I want to get better, then you'll find it. Find it pretty easily, I think, if you have the mindset. Alright, see ya, Prof. Be kind and rewind. Peter Griffin says, "Hey Lois, I have witnessed the heat death of the universe, Lois." Nah. It's beautiful. Thank you, Bung, for helping not just me, but everyone who has had a problem in their lives. Oh, I don't really think I've done anything. I hope I've made it at least easier to talk about, you know, these things. I like being up here and being vulnerable, you know, because I want other people to realize that there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually the first step to helping yourself, is realizing that I'm not actually the hot shit that I thought I was. I don't actually know everything, you know. It's because a lot of depression comes from this feeling that you're at least right about the fact that things suck, you know. This obsession with, you know, even though everything sucks, at least I'm right about it. And I'm right about the heat death of the universe, and that life has no meaning, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm right about all this. Like a certainty about it. You know, kind of brings them a solace. But really, we don't know anything. We don't know that much about the universe. We don't know that it really sucks. It sucks in the moment that you're saying it, probably. But does it universally suck? No. Loads of people are able to find happiness in the weirdest things. And I think a lot of depression comes from this expectation of where we should find happiness as opposed to finding it out for ourselves. You know? Whatever makes you happy makes you happy. Doesn't mean anything more or less. The stream sounds a bit like the Giant from Sirius with the philosophical talk. Great vid, by the way. Thank you. That was one of those vids that I kind of universally like, you know. It didn't age poorly like the Bum Chronicles videos did. I'm gonna come clean to what I did. I made fun of the librarian that worked at my old school when she fell down the stairs and broke both legs. I only did that because she made my life miserable for years. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Anybody at that age would have done that, you know. You don't have to beat yourself up over it, but I think it's really cool that you're coming clean about that. I think that's a really, really powerful thing what you did. Literally floored my face till it bled and was screaming. An episode of all episodes. Jeez. It's okay, I've dealt with it for years. I promised my mom I wouldn't kill myself while she's alive. I don't want to fuck up her life because I don't care about mine. Man. I mean, that's a step. That's something. I'm not gonna judge your life. I hope that you find some kind of happiness or stability though, because I think you deserve it. I think everyone deserves it, at least a little bit, you know. I don't know. I kind of feel like having a drive to achieve will make my life more meaningful, but I could see myself valuing peace more when I'm older. It might just be more mature. Best wishes. Oh well, I'm not mature. It's just that I used to have a lot of anxiety. I used to have an enormous amount of anxiety. I used to have panic attacks every week. I used to completely avoid so many necessary things that, to do with the development of my mental health, just because it was a little too much. And, you know, I had my reasons, and I think that it was meant to happen in a way. But when I figured out that I didn't have to, when I was having my near-death experience, the scary one, it really let me know that, all of this isn't real. Like, I was experiencing a universe where I wasn't subconsciously labeling everything. I was just experiencing a universe, and I felt like a fresh, clean human, like completely rid of tension and thoughts and anxiety and categorization, analysis, all of these things that I thought I needed to have to exist. And I like to tell people that, you know, you don't need those things to exist, because I did it and I didn't die. You know, admittedly I was dying when the event was happening, but I lived. I'm still here. You know. I don't know. Maybe it's more of a personal thing for me. I mean, it is a personal thing for me, but maybe other people might need to hear something like that. You have done something, bro. You gave me friendship, somewhere I felt safe to talk and be myself when I had nowhere. Man, you are far too humble. Why would you say that, Lish? That was so kind of you. Yeah, I'm a little, especially since I'm sick, I've been a little downplaying myself. I'm aware of it. I just don't like mentioning it. Because then I have to admit that, like, oh, of course I have self-esteem issues. I'm weird and still don't understand myself and what I'm feeling. Truly nobody does. Anybody who tells you that they completely understand the intricate complexity of the human mind and how everybody else in the universe works, they're lying. There are truly no rules that matter universally. As much as our brain likes to dream of that oh, if only there was a manual that just explained everything. Just everything. Your voice is pretty quiet, is it? I might just be talking pretty quiet, actually. Move my mic a bit closer. I always anxiety was BS. Oh, I always thought anxiety was BS till I figured out I had it. Lol, I'm terrified of talking to people on the phone. I even freak out at drive-through windows. You know, anxiety do be like that. It's not necessarily the anxiety, you know, the anxiety is a thing that just naturally occurs when something in the universe, inside or outside of your body, happens that had a very intense experience with you in the past. And you don't necessarily have to find out exactly what it was that started it, but it does help. It does help you realize and detach from this idea that you have to feel that way every single time it happens. Because you're disillusioning yourself. You're removing a veil, and it's a veil that says that, you know, spiders are still fucking scary. For example, like I have childhood fear for spiders. I don't actually know where it started. It probably happened when I was very little. But every time I see a spider, my first reaction is, fuck. And then I remember that, oh, this is just a lifelong impulse. I don't have to, morally, I do not have to obey it. And then I do whatever I have to do, whatever that is. Anxiety is a part of life. You're supposed to be anxious about how the rent gets paid, because that's how the rent gets paid. I wouldn't use that example. We were talking about society earlier. It's a fucked system to begin with, I think. As somebody who has lost a home once because rent had to be paid, regardless of any other distressing scenario that was occurring, and financial scenario that was occurring, it is kind of bullshit, and I think it's totally justifiable that some people are extremely anxious about paying their rent. It's not always fair. But avoiding that personal tangent, anxiety is important in that it's there in very low levels and is not controlling you. But when people talk about anxiety, most of the time they're talking about the anxiety they feel like they have no control over, because it doesn't feel like it's worth talking about otherwise. If we're talking about the general low levels of anxiety that we feel every single day when we're excited, we're anticipating something, when we're a little bit nervous, we're a little bit scared, these things are very helpful, yeah. But some people have been raised in such a way, or they've been born with such a thing that is not, it is not as easy. It is not the case, you know. If when I was 10 was able to do a front flip to land on my bum, would it be a front flip or a bum flip? It would be both, because that's impressive either way. Even Socrates, in the oldest written sources we have found, talk about how confusing stuff is. We are all trying to figure everything out, part of the human experience to wonder what the fuck is going on. Yeah, it's... No, I mean, not that it's pointless to try and figure out what's going on, but it's not gonna end, you know, so just enjoy the fact that you're never gonna find out, but that you can try all the time. Because the universe isn't made up of stuff that is meant to be figured out. The universe just is. The universe is this completely label-less thing. Even though I'm using a label right now, like the universe, to describe it, objectively speaking, if there even is such a thing as objectivity, the universe doesn't give a shit what we try to label it. The universe, it just is. It is just this vague sensation of visuals and sounds and feelings and time, or this illusion of time that we experience together. It's just a thing. Us trying to label it is the same as us drawing a grid over a completely abstract blobular painting and saying, now it makes sense, because it's 50 squares up and 50 squares across, therefore this means something. It doesn't. None of it means anything. The universe just is. It just exists. We're trying to figure it out. We've been trying to do it for thousands of years, and it's not pointless, you know, because if you're doing it for fun, then, you know, all the power to you. But with this conclusion, everything you're doing should only really be for fun. Even if some of the things you're doing are depressing, if you're doing it so that you can highlight the fun when you have fun, then that's part of the fun. You know, you go to work so you can play. There's no excuse for anyone to work you to the bone. Nobody should ever have to work anyone to the bone. We work so that we can play later. It's all just a game. It's all just fun. You know, it's very depressing sometimes, and it's very miserable sometimes. Some people's lives are not fun. Are you a socialist? I don't know. I have some socialist ideas, but mostly, I don't know. I haven't really been thinking about it a lot. It's fair. I was quoting a comedian. Oh yeah, fair enough. Sending my powerful friendship beams to you. 4 years of friendship, hoping for many more with a fellow enlightened non-binary. You're so kind, Lish. I love you. Billion subs, but in live stream only about 90 people max. Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? Oh well. If you're a person from the UK, just text UK. But if you are, do you miss sing Sweet Caroline before the match starts at the stadium? Because I do. I have no idea what you're talking about. If you're reading this, watch Mary and Max. Doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter when, but do it once. It should be on Netflix. I have seen Mary and Max call Weezer of Souls. It's a very good movie. Made me cry. It's kind of good that there aren't much people watching because the chat's slow and we can just vibe. Yeah, that's a nice way of looking at it. Math is probably the closest thing we have to objectivity, and it's almost completely abstract. Yeah, exactly. Like, you go into people who talk about theoretical physics, and they're basically mystics. You know, they're trying to explain what is reality, what makes up this thing. And most of us don't think beyond it's just made of atoms. We forget that atoms are a measurement. They're not. It's not an explanation of what reality is made of. What reality is made of is a sensation of motion and energy that can only be measured through time on its simplest level. Really, there are just things moving at different speeds and different intensities, different temperatures, different weights, different heights, depths, in such a way that we're able to interpret the universe from our own perspective as the center of the universe. We think we're in the center of it all because that's the only way we can perceive reality. And so we see things as slower than us, or faster than us, taller than us, shorter than us, bigger than us, smaller than us, hotter than us, colder than us. All of these different things that we use to differentiate ourselves from the rest of the universe. And because we have this bias that we're the normal ones and everything else is external, we just stop thinking there and think, well, that's it. You know, the universe is made up of stuff. What's the stuff? I don't know. Not that anybody has to know. Nobody really knows. But I think if we all knew that none of us knew, then we would freak out a bit. You know, I think most people probably would. Love your voice, homie. Thank you, Uncle TJ Crease. Am I the only one in the UK in this stream? Probably not. What do you think of hallucinogens in small doses as treatments? I definitely want to see that going on. I know America's recently ended their prohibition on psychedelics, and in Colorado you can do psilocybin therapy now. And there are people who do ketamine therapy and psychedelic therapy in other countries in Europe, Canada, I think. It seems very beneficial, like for dealing with anxiety and depression. It's really interesting. And that's not just an excuse to do psychedelics, because I do enjoy psychedelics, and I'll do them whether they're allowed or not. But there is something deeply spiritual about psychedelics, and that, you know, for hundreds of thousands of years, human culture, pre-industrial era, pre-civilization, have used drugs, or have just used plants. They're just plants, fungus, whatever. Drug has an ugly taste to that word. Just used plants and ended up seeing things, experiencing things that brought them closer to the way nature flows. You know, for example, when you take LSD or mushrooms or DMT, at least in my experience, you end up experiencing a reality in this sort of fluctuating cycle, where like you could look at your hand and it'll be changing size, and it'll just kind of go back and forth between these different sizes, you know, with different length of the finger. It'll just kind of, it's like it's breathing. It's like the universe is breathing. The walls are breathing. Everything you see is breathing. and everything you feel goes in this cycle of like energy building, then dissipating, building, dissipating. And it's all different lengths, different paces, different feelings, different sensations, and you end up living this adventure of life, and you're living life in this really vibrant, intense way because you could feel every single pore of your body breathing, every single, and if you're somebody who has very bad anxiety or very bad experiences with their emotions and thoughts, and you go into psychedelics, and you end up having an episode like you would when you were sober, it's going to be really intense, and this way I just don't recommend psychedelics for everybody. There are some people who just straight up know you cannot, you should not if you have schizophrenia or something. But for a lot of people with what I'm interested about the therapy is that you find your own sort of dosage with your therapist, and you end up approaching it at this healthy level instead of just going to a party and dropping a bunch of acid. Admittedly, that is how I found my my spiritual awakening, whatever you want to call it. But it's probably better to be in a safe environment with people that care about you. Bung is an Aussie in chat. Haha, hee hee. Uh-oh. Aussie time. Plants producing neurotoxin to protect themselves from being eaten that accidentally mess with us. It's a strange way, in strange ways, when they don't kill us. It truly is beautiful though, because you end up seeing reality from a different perspective, such a different perspective that it shatters the way that you feel like reality needs to be. Because the brain has this thing called the default mode network, which is a system that makes you ignore things that your brain is already determined to be irrelevant based on your life. So everything you experience through your life as a baby, you get reward and punishment. And so you absorb this information so intensely to the point that there are things that you just completely overlook throughout your life because your brain has decided, the default mode network has decided this is no longer relevant. And it's useful because, if you are just absorbing everything objectively all the time, you would be overwhelmed as shit. So the default mode network filters out all of the things these arbitrary things that are now irrelevant. It doesn't actually mean that it's right or good, and psychedelics help refresh that. You end up seeing reality with these fresh baby eyes, and you end up absorbing everything. And afterwards, there are things that I like to do now that I never liked to do beforehand. Like, I really like enjoying, when I'm looking out into a bunch of trees, I'm just enjoying the sort of depth perception. You move left and right when you walk, and you just notice how wide and far and spread out everything is. Notice how the sky moves at a different, quote, different speed to things in the foreground. I really enjoy that now. Now I really enjoy it. I really enjoy a lot of things now because of this experience. Because I know that experience is part of me. The sky is me. The trees are also me. What I am isn't, I don't exist in a void. If my body was in a void, I'd be dead and nothing would transpire. The fact that I'm in an ecosystem that I've evolved to live in means that I'm a part of this ecosystem as much as it is part of me. This earth, these people. The fact that we're all sort of talking to each other right now makes us one big organism, not a bunch of separate ones. Because we're defined by each other. You talk to me, I talk to you. We respond back and forth to each other. It's a function. I'm not objectively an individual. That's just a cultural thing. That's just a social thing. Really want to give you a nice crisp high five. We gotta do a meetup in Totally Cumbra. Yeah, where do you live? Maybe I'll do a meetup in whatever city that I plan to visit. Whatever many cities that I plan to visit in the future. Funnel web spiders can't kill cats or dogs, but can absolutely murder us. Yep. They're quite funny. I like how funnel web spiders have this abdomen that basically gets cut in half right in the middle. And there's like a symbol on it. after a year in quarantine, the blades of grass in my garden looking mighty fine. Hey, Taze. Thank you, Uncle TJ Grease. What's up, bub? I like your profile picture. Too many close family members who have had their mental illness amplified by drugs. I'm sorry to hear that. But, you know, while there are people who do have addiction and who are, if you want to say, slaves to drugs, there are also people who are completely within their right mind who actively take drugs because they feel like this is where they need to go. And really, if you take somebody who wants to do drugs but goes to therapy, but the whole time they're thinking, I just want to do drugs, then the therapy isn't helping. They're not ready for therapy, you know what I mean? What's with the blue wrench in yours uses? Oh, these are muds. Get a lot done with modafinil. Get a lot done with it, and I can put it down without missing it. There you go. That's very good. Yeah, that's another thing of like, you know, enjoying the fruits of reality while not getting attached to it. That's perfectly whatever. You can literally be doing anything. You can be doing all sorts of things, but as long as you're not attached to it, then you're not a slave to it. You know. School is making a student meeting where you can talk to your friends. I'll probably go there, and even though it's online, better than nothing. Yeah, you know, better than nothing. Thank you, AC Animates. Appreciate that. Hive mind. Yeah, well, a hive mind implies that there's one controlling the rest. I think that's what it implies, at least. That there's a queen, whatever, at the top. No, I mean, we are all one organism with multiple minds, in the same way that a cell in your body is this thing that we can separate and call a cell, and it is simply moving in a certain direction. And we like to think that, well, they're all doing the same thing, they're all listening to the brain. Well, they're not. What's going on in your body actually is a lot of conflict. A lot of, there's bacteria, for one. I'm sorry if it makes you uncomfortable, but there's loads of bacteria inside of you. It's constantly in conflict with cells, with your white blood cells, with your lymph nodes, where all the white blood cells come from. I don't actually know that much about human biology, so don't quote me on this. But I know that there is conflict within us, but conflict on that level is conflict. On our level as a human being, it's harmony, you know, because we are this constant cycle of matter going into us and then coming out of us, either through the poop or the sweat or the whatever. Our body gets completely recycled every 8 years, and things come in and come out. There's a constant motion and tension, and therefore there is conflict inside of us, physically and emotionally sometimes. But what was I saying? Something conflict, yeah. Inspire me a lot. First time joining a stream though, just got off work. Oh, thank you, Uncle TJ. It's really cool. I'm glad that you popped into the stream and you're enjoying yourself. We are very swag. Y'all are. Come to Sweden or UK, please, thank you. Not a request, a demand. Bring Catboy. I will. I'll bring Catboy. It'll be so swag. Google Analytics is some creepy stuff. I wouldn't be sure that humanity isn't a hive mind. I mean, there is definitely this urge to feel included in a social role, so... So, in a way, we're a little bit of a hive mind because we want to be able to feel included all the time. And that compulsion will make us do things that would effectively make us some sort of hive mind. The problem is that even though we all know this, there are still places in the world that try to centralize that power, that popular way of thinking and feeling and living, and try to make us live in that way. Yeah, just, you know, be aware of it. Enjoy life, you know. Except for a long time, like Bung Rant's old, while I may have fallen off for a year or two, it's still refreshing to see you live, what seems your healthiest and nicest. Oh, well, it's mentally healthiest. Right now I'm physically very sick. But I'm getting better. I just, honestly, at this point, I just have a really sensitive throat. If you do Florida, to be honest, you'd have to do 2 meetups because this state is big. Wow. Big ass state. That would be fun. Hamburg is really cool, you know? Oh yeah, I might visit there. I always wanted to visit Germany, see my ancestral town on my dad's side of the family. Brain cells don't get replaced for the most part. Okay, fair enough. Florida isn't real. It only exists in children's fantasy books. It's true. It's true. I'm funding a drug that triggers the cell death mechanism in the presence of viral material to stop the cell from replicating it. Pop a pill and be free of a viral infection. I could really use that right now, man. You're doing some good stuff if that's the case. Hope it doesn't have any terrible side effects. Don't do a Peter Griffin now. He's literally counting down from 9. He's up to 7. I'm so afraid. Bung, have you seen Night Vale? Yeah, I love that podcast. I stopped listening a while ago. I think I caught up and just forgot to get back on it. Bill can insult me, but big mean Maudlish will not tolerate mean to pals. So kind, so sweet. Alright, see you, Uncle TJ Grease. I think I finally catch a stream. Have a good one. You have a good one too. I'm glad you joined. Do you plan on doing simpler animations not related to SCP? I plan on making my animations shorter so that it's not taking that long. But mostly gonna be confinement related. Do you have Rona? No. I got tested. No Rona for me. Anyone insults Lish, I'm gonna pow 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 pow. Beat the marshmallows out of them. I think it's time again for me to say how much I love my boyfriend. Look at him. Look at him. He's so kind to me. It's really interesting. And I thought this was going to happen going into a relationship. I just didn't realize how deep it was going to be. That when you go into a healthy relationship like this one, at least definitely relatively healthy compared to our previous relationships, you end up learning why the previous relationships were unhealthy. And you end up learning things about yourself that you've been letting happen to you, or that you've been doing to yourself, because nobody ever gave you the permission to live differently, to see the world in a different way. And it's a real trip. Like, you know, fucking talk about ego death, right? If you do the meetup, would it just be in public space or plan some activity? I mean, I really don't like the concept of just being like, hey, meet up at this time and place. I don't care if you have work or whatever. What I like to do is just go to conventions where there's already a thing happening, and then just say, I'll be at this convention, you know? Especially if it's YouTube related or something. I lost a big chunk of my money on Turkish stock market, so I came here like loser. I'm so sorry. Salam, welcome to my stream. I'm sorry that you lost a lot of money on your Turkish stock market. It sucks. Look up Draco antivirus for details. No toxicity found so far, but it has only been tested in a few mice and cell cultures. Interesting. Oh, that'll be interesting. I wonder if that'll like ring a bell a few years into the future. I'll be picking up a Draco antivirus pill. called a rat a few days ago under my selfies. Lol, it's fine because I like rats and think they're cute, but it was definitely not meant as a compliment. Yeah, and people can be real shitty. Orion isn't here. Trash stream. Goodbye. Yeah, valid. I mean, there's a picture of him right there. Tired and need to leave, but now I'm stuck waiting to see what Pete is counting down for. Alright, yeah, let's see where all this is going. I don't wanna beat the shit out of the guy that called you a rat. Just gonna have a little talk with him. Here's some meds for those who need an easier time. Thank you, Shockbite. Any philosophical insight on eusocial organisms? Eusocial organisms? Let me look that shit up. Eusocial species. Any colonial animal species that lives in multi-generational family groups in which the vast majority of individuals cooperate to a relatively few or even single reproductive group members. Because eusocial colonies are thought to forego reproduction due to constraints and independent breeding. Interesting. So like ants, bees, mole rats. Right. Well, even though we're not quite as simple as those, and I don't mean simple as an insult, even though we're not quite as simple as those animals, I think we do have a very similar impulse to be part of a group, and whatever that means. I do not think we have the same instinctual structure of that we used to. I think every sort of structure naturally arises in nature, and maybe the healthiest one for us would be a tribal situation, but the fact that we naturally arose into this society, this complicated one, maybe this is also the natural way we're supposed to be living, you know? Because nature isn't separate from us just because we're in buildings and we're using technology and shit. It might be more destructive and consuming, but this is still nature. Boom, you and me go knock that guy out. Yeah, well, you stand behind him, you lay down behind him and I'll push. Thank you, Dev200's YouTube channel. Did I miss the last stream? The last stream was on Sunday, so if you missed that, yeah. Well, Saturday night for Americans, I think. I just like to think they were mad at how hot and masked I looked. They could tell I'm just such a Sigma. Yeah, I mean, you are. Like, unironically, I think a lot of people insult people's photos because they feel like, well, I couldn't post photos. I would never post a photo of myself. Because if I did, someone like me would insult them. And so they don't. And they're jealous that you weren't thinking of that when you posted that. Because you thought, even if you thought somebody might insult me, you did it anyway. And that's a threat to a lot of people. So you're a fucking champion. You're a non-binary god. What's your opinion on gene editing? We've been sort of low-key doing that for a while now. This only seems like the next natural step. I don't know if it's... I mean, what was that movie where people would genetically choose how perfect their babies are and create this weird little society? It's the weird eugenic society. It's probably something along like that. When I'm in my political mode, I think, oh, this is fucked up. This is really fucked up. But, I don't know. Draco won't be the drug name since that is the class of drug. Interestingly enough, since it is a protein, it would be possible to create organisms that make it themselves or are born immune to viruses. That's interesting. Now, what goes in my head when you just said that is viruses are going to have to evolve to exist in places where humans still live. So, what would this new virus look like? What would it do? Would it be fucked up little creature, like a bug, like some kind of new, new, more intelligent virus that we begin to classify as a animal? You know, I don't know. because bacteria and viruses are still going to exist in the places that humans live. But if they can't survive on humans, then they're going to have to evolve. I'm just wondering what's going to happen there. But who knows? Maybe the viruses become completely eradicated. But we have terrible, violent microorganisms inside of us all the time. I just wonder, how perfect can we get before we end up doing something that simply makes things worse. Any recommendations for things to watch? I recommend The Good Place if you want philosophy banter, but with beautiful character writing and a lot of charming humor, great actors. I recommend Barry if you want Breaking Bad but funny. Bill Hader's a fantastic actor. I saw my favorite episode of Barry today with a friend. I was in tears. I was in goddamn tears. B-A-R-R-Y, Barry. Thank you, Felix Gaming. Natural step in evolution, gene editing. Well, because why does every decision that we make, why is it called unnatural? You know, unnatural is just an idea. If we're using natural to describe what happens in the universe, then everything that's ever happened, ever, is natural. I know I'm being semantic here, but I think using the word natural in the way that we do is not very helpful. I think maybe we can use words like, you can use words to describe why something is bad rather than just saying it's unnatural. You know what I mean? Natural isn't anything. Can we see your boyfriend? Yeah, he's right there. He's asleep right now because he lives in America, but there he is. I love him. I studied genetics and the whole stigma around it is pretty stupid. Yeah, because on the one hand it can save lives, because some people are born with cancer cells. Well, rather, they developed the cancer cells later, but seem to have been pretty unavoidable for the most part. But then there are some babies who are just born with defects that could be completely avoided, and so I understand why we feel this need to go and control things like this, but obviously, as we were talking about earlier, there are going to be consequences. And the fact that it would become possible for us to save lives are only going to make so many people pissed off that they couldn't afford to do it, for example. When it seems like it should be a human right, it's going to be played off as a luxury or a thing that a very specialist doctor should do, because look at what we do now with healthcare. You know, we're very selective about what is basic and everyone deserves, and what is very special that you should pay a lot of money for, even though it can all be life-saving. And so that is one of the consequences. This is not me trying to be against it or for it. I don't really give a shit. Whatever happens, happens. I like the idea of gene editing to make people immune to diseases through their genetics, to be honest. It does have good promise. There's an animated show called Kaiba that made me cry a lot. It's very good. I highly recommend it. Kaiba. I think I was going to check that out at some point. Why was Connor's stuff redacted? You'll see. What's the song name? Lo-fi chilled beats, 12 hours of DMCA free and copyright free music for Twitch streamers. And yes, it is 12 hours. This song in particular is about an hour and 48 minutes in. Well, one thing for sure is that all Minecraft grass turf ain't natural, old yee ass haircut. Yeah? Is that right? Well, I like my hair, so I don't really care. That's funny. There are two downsides I can think of. First, we use viruses to gene edit sometimes, so you could not get gene therapy while taking it. Also, it would stop horizontal gene transfer, arguably bad. Yeah, I mean, you definitely know more about this than anyone else in chat, I think, so. Thank you, Avivo. It's a little disappointed with you, Peter. I was really hoping for a shut up, Meg, lol, but okay, y'all have a good night. I'm outie 5000. There you go. Have a good night, Cuda Critters. At least you know now. Sweden is ahead of the world. Yeah, and some things. Why is there an overlay of a monkey hitting somebody? Because I really like that gif. It's a very good gif. How's the animation coming along? It's going fine. It's going alright. It's not done, but it's not going to be done for a while. I'm going to have to accept that. How many people are watching? It says 70 for me. Get bungled. Oh, it's 10 p.m. Hold up. Okay. Did everybody leave the Discord? The funny Discord poll? Alright, if anybody from my Discord is still here, I might be popping into the Discord. I'm not really sure which channel yet. Whichever's the most fun. We'll see what happens. But I'm gonna be ending stream in a couple seconds. This has been cool. I talked a lot more than I thought I was gonna. I talked about a lot of fun stuff. Hope it wasn't too much. You know, some of these topics got a bit heavy and some of these subjects got a bit dark, but I try to navigate it as invitingly as possible. Does Bung like David Bowie? I must know. Who doesn't fucking love David Bowie? Almost everyone here regrets their choice, but everyone here agrees with me that Lord Bung is the greatest. What? Well, that's very sweet of you. I was a geneticist in alternate reality. I was not allowed to do more than one elective in the small country school I went to. Damn. Yeah, I feel that. No, I don't use Paint to animate. I do use GIMP. I was explaining non-binary to somebody, but have to stop to come back at a mention of Sweden. We might be good with some things, but how we treated the Sami people is disgusting. Must be held to account. Oh, really? Yeah, I guess there's no country's perfect. Nobody's perfect. No ethical consumption when the priority in your nation is to make the most amount of anything. He uses GIMP and that'll always hurt me. Mwah. It's a lot of fun. It's my birthday and this helped me deal with some negative thoughts and stuff. Thanks, Bun. No worries. I'm sorry that you've been having negative thoughts, but happy birthday, John Taylor. I hope this day is somewhat special for you, or at least you could acknowledge where it is special. I like that you take the time with confinement. Get well soon, buddy. Thank you, Jacob. Alright. I'm gonna go now. This has been good. This has been fun. Of course, I wish my boyfriend was here, but it's also fun to do this by myself, you know. I get to reach out in a very particular set of topics. Lord reads my comment, also me blushes. Alright, good night everybody. That was cool. Hare Krishna, and